Another night of confrontations between police and protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee, said about the shooting of Jacob Blake, quote, "He is one of countless black Americans who have suffered at the hands of bigotry with a badge." Meanwhile, a couple of conservative African-American voices saying this tonight at the RNC.
He shows how much he cares about social justice in the black community through his actions. And his action speaks louder than stickers or slogans on a jersey.
Democrats have turned their backs on our brave police officers. They call it defunding.
Let's get some expert analysis on what we're watching to play out tonight from former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks, Shannon.
Okay, so let's start with another night of unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after a shooting there. There are a number of videos that we have seen surface. What would you like to see at this point? Will there be body cam footage that's released? What would be helpful in bringing some transparency to the situation?
Well, hopefully there is body cam footage, and, hopefully the department lets us know a few things. What was in his hands as he was walking back to the car? Was he really getting in the car, or was he bending down? I watched the video a couple times. It looked like he was bending down to grab something in the car. Why were they attempting to stop him? What was the conversation they had prior to that? There's going to be an investigation by the department, by the county, and by the state. And I would imagine, given today's times, probably by the FBI, the Civil Rights Division. So let the investigations take their course. Let them do their job. Let justice be served, but let it be done right. Don't interfere with the investigation, and let's see what happens.
And we will have a number of investigations, as you said, at so many different levels, and we'll watch and see. Just taking note of what happened over the weekend, I mean, dozens of shootings in Chicago again, dozens of shooting in New York again. Many of them were fatal in both cities. We've got this continued unrest nearing now 90 nights in Portland. We've got new places springing up like Kenosha. You spent many years in law enforcement. What is this like for those men and women on the front lines as this goes on for weeks and weeks at a time?
Well, listen, Shannon, especially places like in Portland, it's demoralizing. It's extremely disturbing. It's frustrating. It's dangerous. And the leadership there is not doing anything about it. They're holding the reins back on the cops. They're not sending in the right force. They pulled the state police already and got them out of there. So the Portland police are stuck. They're hanging there on their own. They're fighting against munitions. They're fighting against arson. They're fighting against Molotov cocktails and everything else. And the leadership is doing nothing about it. So that's pretty demoralizing. In the rest of these cities, Shannon, Chicago, Baltimore, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, this is the systemic slaughter of young blacks that these leaders, the mayors and the governors, have done nothing about for years, and they're still not doing anything about it today. Chicago, I think 66 shot over the weekend and 5 or 6 dead. This is absurd. This is absurd. That's what they should be focused on.
And I think there was a study out today that said the predominant group that has been victimized by violence in the last few weeks since all of this started in New York is primarily the black residents there. So we're looking live in Kenosha, Wisconsin, by the way. Our Mike Tobin is there on the ground. We've got crews on the ground as we watch another night of destruction and fire there. Just a quick comment from you, Commissioner, about what's coming out of New York and that stat today that it's primarily the minority community that's suffering.
Well, look at the history of New York. When Rudy Giuliani came in 1994 and left in 2002, we dropped violent crime by 65% and murder by 70%. But in the black community, the murder rate dropped almost 80%. The benefactors of the crime, the violent crime and the murder reductions was the black community. So there was a benefit then, there's a detriment now.
All right, Commissioner, thank you.